In the 40-plus years since radios were first installed in automobiles, the music has changed considerably. The cars have changed dramatically. And the radios? Well, the radios didn't evolve quite so rapidly. That is, until solid-state electronics came along and replaced the vacuum tube. But since that time, car radios have grown from little hi-fi push-button boxes to sophisticated stereo systems, sound engineered specifically to conform to the interior space of the automobile. Today's car stereo systems are electronic wonders that can be programmed to an individual's listening tastes. They can process sound so cleanly that today car stereo radios create a listening environment comparable to sophisticated home stereo systems. During these past few decades, the electronics division of Mitsubishi has been among the world's leaders in the design and manufacturing of car stereo systems. Your Mitsubishi car stereo system was designed specifically for your Mitsubishi automobile. Engineers took into consideration the interior shape of your new Mitsubishi, the interior volume of air that surrounds driver and passengers, and the ergonomics required to make your radio system functional, easy to use, and easy to access. Like the new Mitsubishi vehicle you're driving, your Mitsubishi radio system is a modern miracle of design and engineering, intended to entertain, but most importantly, to enhance your driving experience. Stay tuned, because coming up next, more about your Mitsubishi radio system, how it works, and how to get maximum listening enjoyment from it.
The stereo system in your new Mitsubishi is designed to be an integral part of your new vehicle, just like the heater, instruments, and gauges. It fits perfectly in the dash and is designed for ease of operation. Plus, it has something else the others can't offer. That's Mitsubishi's unending dedication to quality. And with this stereo system, that's quality you can hear. We'd like to take a few brief minutes and familiarize you with all the different audio systems that are available on the 1987 Mitsubishi cars and trucks. We'll demonstrate all the controls of these audio systems so you can get maximum performance from your particular unit. We'd like to recommend that you run through this section when parked. possibly in the comfort of your driveway, so you can pay full attention to this information without the distraction of traffic. You already know how to switch on the radio and use the cassette player, but let's review some of the controls. Basically, there are 4 types of radios. An analog push-button AM/FM stereo radio with cassette, found on Mirage, Montero, and truck models. An electronically tuned AM/FM stereo radio and cassette player all in one unit, found on Cordia and Tradia. An electronically tuned AM/FM stereo radio and cassette player that's available on Galan. Plus, there's a state-of-the-art AM stereo, FM stereo radio, complete with cassette player, 9-band graphic equalizer, and high-power amplifier, available on Starion, Galan, and selected truck models. More on that radio later on this tape. On the analog radio, the knob on the far left of your radio is quite versatile. It turns the radio on and off. Plus, it lets you control the volume. And by pulling the front knob, it turns the lights on and off. At the back of this knob is the tone control. Rotate it to the left or the right to enhance the treble and bass. Cordia and Tradia offer separate treble and bass controls, located in the middle of the radio. And on the Galan, the tone is controlled by a sliding lever, located on the right-hand side of the unit. We'll let the music play for a while so you can experiment and find the tone setting that you prefer. On the analog radio, this same far left knob also controls the left to right balance, and you can change the balance by pushing the knob while rotating it left or right. When you're driving with others in the car, the typical balance position is in the middle. But when driving alone, many drivers prefer to offset the balance to the right. On Cordia and Tradia, the balance control is located next to the tone controls. Galan has a slider control for balance. And on the radio with the 9-band graphic equalizer, the balance control is located right next to the radio power switch at the lower left-hand side of the radio. We'll let the music play so you can adjust the balance to find the setting that you prefer. Now, on the analog radio, the knob directly to the right of the volume knob performs 2 functions. First, it allows you to manually tune in radio stations simply by rotating the dial until you find a station that you prefer. At the back of this knob is the fader control. As you discovered, the balance control regulates the sound from left to right. The fader controls the sound from front to back. The other radios also have a fader control. On Cordia and Tradia, it's located at the back of the volume knob. On Galan, there is a separate slider control for the fader. And on the radio with the 9-band graphic equalizer, the fader control is located right next to the balance control. Again, we're going to let the music play as you experiment with the fader control to find the position you prefer. You'll notice that each radio features special lights or indicators that are illuminated to indicate whether you're listening to an AM station or an FM station. And most will also inform you when you've tuned to a stereo station. On the analog radio, across the bottom of the radio are 5 push buttons. These let you select your 2 favorite FM radio stations and your 3 favorite AM stations. To set these buttons, first, pull out the button you wish to set. Next, manually tune the station you want. Then press the button in firmly to lock in that station. On the electronically tuned radios, you have seek and step controls. These are designed to help you tune in your favorite radio stations. When you press the seek button on the plus side, the radio will automatically seek out the next radio station that's higher in frequency. Pressing the minus side of the seek button will search for stations in the opposite direction. To lock your favorite stations in memory, first select AM or FM, then find your station. Simply press the memory button. Then immediately press one of the station's select buttons, and that frequency will be automatically stored in memory. Some of our radios have a local distance switch. For most cases, the distance setting will provide optimum reception. But if you're driving in a major metropolitan area with a lot of radio stations, the local switch lets you hone in on your particular station, rejecting the signals from other adjacent stations. You already know the basic operation of your cassette deck, but now we'll provide further explanation of the features to eliminate any questions you may have. All our cassette decks are automatic reverse cassette. That means that once you've listened to one side, the cassette deck automatically switches to side 2, or the B side. This is very convenient and lets you listen to hours of uninterrupted music. There are 2 lights on the unit that indicate the tape direction. On the analog radio, on the left-hand side of the cassette player, there's a high cut button. When you depress this button, the bass tones are further emphasized, and tape hiss is reduced. The electronically tuned units have Dolby noise reduction and metal tape buttons. When depressed, the Dolby button will reduce tape hiss. Use this feature only on Dolby mastered tapes. This information can be found on the cassette label. When depressed, the metal button is designed to change the equalization for metal or chrome tapes. Again, use this feature only while using metal or chrome tapes. And the radio equipped with the 9-band graphic equalizer also has a loudness control, which when depressed, boosts bass response at lower listening levels. Also on this radio, you'll note that the Dolby and metal buttons are dual function buttons. When you're listening to the radio, they're used for your preset radio stations. But when you're listening to a cassette, these same buttons switch on and off Dolby or metal. Now we'll let the music play for a while so you can experiment with the high cut, Dolby, metal, and loudness buttons so you can determine which settings you prefer. All our cassette players feature a program button. Sometimes it's labeled Pro or Pro Play. This changes the direction of the tape, letting you play the other side of the tape without having to physically take the tape out and turn it over. For example, if you pressed the program button now, you would hear part of the audio owner's manual on side 1. These cassette players also feature an eject button that ejects the tape when you're through listening. And there are buttons that control the fast forward and reverse functions. Once you engage one of these buttons, lightly press the program or Pro Play button to stop them. And on the radio with the 9-band graphic equalizer, there's even 2 MSS buttons. MSS stands for Music Search, and it automatically advances or rewinds the tape to the next musical selection. Again, you'll find that these are dual function switches. So now we'll let the music play so you can experiment with some of these controls, including fast forward, reverse, and program. Now, on Starion and select Galan models, these audio systems also come with steering wheel mounted controls for fingertip convenience. The various switches on the steering wheel let you control the volume up or down. You can change from AM to FM. It allows you to seek out a new radio station or choose from one of your preset stations. And now there's even a mute button. So, for example, if you're listening to your stereo and have to talk, a quick press of the mute button will quiet the system for easy conversation. Once again, we'll let the music play so you can experiment with the volume and mute controls. Mitsubishi car audio stereo systems, precisely designed to enhance your listening enjoyment while you're driving your new Mitsubishi car or truck. For those of you who also have a graphic equalizer included in your Mitsubishi audio system, we've only just begun to explore the musical possibilities that exist in your new Mitsubishi car or truck. This 9-band graphic equalizer literally unlocks the entire musical range so you can precisely set the tone to your personal preference. Many people do not fully understand all the benefits of a graphic equalizer. So we'll go step by step to ensure you the best audio performance from your system. First, be sure the equalizer is switched on. This switch is located to the left of the equalizer controls at the bottom of the radio. And to switch on, merely depress the button. You'll notice there are 9 different equalizer controls. The best way to understand these controls is to think of each one as a separate volume control for a specific frequency response. Therefore, when you turn one control up or down, you can increase or diminish those specific frequencies or tones. From left to right, the equalizer controls are labeled 60 Hertz, 125 Hertz, 250 Hertz, 500 Hertz, 1 kilohertz, 2 kilohertz, 4 kilohertz, 8 kilohertz, and 16 kilohertz. 60 hertz represents the low bass tones. Then as you move to the right, you go up in tone until you reach 16 kilohertz, which represents the highest tones in this scale. Okay, so we've explained that the graphic equalizer can enhance various frequencies. Now let's translate this information into the different instruments they control. For the purpose of this demonstration, place all the equalizer controls in the middle of the scale. This is also known as flat equalization. For now, we'll do all the work for you by actually changing the equalization right on the tape. Many string instruments produce sound in the very high frequencies. For example, a violin can produce tones as high as 16 kilohertz. Listen for a moment, and we'll play one passage normally. Then, after a brief pause, we'll replay the exact same passage, but this time we will increase the intensity on the right 3 equalizer controls: 4 kilohertz, 8 kilohertz, and 16 kilohertz. First, normal equalization. And now we will increase the intensity of the right 3 controls. Could you hear the difference? By raising those 3 equalizer controls, the strings on the second passage were much more intense. Now suppose you want to enhance the horn section. Many of the horns, like the trumpet and trombone, produce most of their music in the middle range of the scale. So for the purpose of this demonstration, we will enhance the mid-range. First, normal equalization. And now we will increase the intensity of the middle 3 controls. On the first passage, the equalization was totally neutral. Then, the second time we played that passage, the center 3 controls, 500 Hertz, 1 kilohertz, and 2 kilohertz, were raised to specifically enhance the horn section. Now, many instruments can go quite low in tone, like the bass drum. It can produce sounds down in the 60 Hertz range. Now, we'll once again demonstrate how you can enhance the specific frequencies and instruments, this time accenting the bass tones, 60 Hertz, 125 Hertz, and 250 Hertz. First, normal equalization. And now we will increase the intensity of the left 3 controls. Starting to get the picture? Now, if you prefer to boost the vocal range, you will want to raise the middle equalization controls while leaving the outside controls in the middle position. Again, we'll demonstrate. Hear the difference? As you can hear, the difference can be very dramatic. So far, though, we've been focusing on specific ranges and instruments. Now let's discuss the overall equalization settings. For example, if you prefer strong strings and bass, you will want to raise the high and low controls on the outside while leaving the center controls in the neutral position. Listen to these passages as we demonstrate. See if you can hear the difference. Here's a little clue. Think of these 2 settings we've just been discussing as a smile or a frown. And that's the pattern how your equalizer controls should appear. As we said, to get the optimum performance from your graphic equalizer, view these 9 different controls as individual volume controls that adjust specific tonal ranges. Now, we're going to let the music play for a couple of minutes while you experiment with your graphic equalizer. We'd like to close on this thought about graphic equalization. Don't feel that once you find the equalizer settings that are pleasing to you, that you have to stick with those settings for every piece of music you listen to. Feel free to experiment. Each different radio station is equalized to a different setting. So as you change stations, you may want to change your equalization settings. The same is true when switching from cassette to cassette. Each one is equalized at a different level. So have fun with your new graphic equalizer. Sometimes you may just want to change the equalization settings to freshen up one of your old standards. Well, there you have it. Everything you need to know to get the most out of the audio system in your new Mitsubishi. And now for your audio enjoyment, We're going to let the music play so you can continue to fine-tune your audio system to meet your personal preferences.